Welcome back in, everybody. Another Tuesday night live stream with special guest Brandon. Glad to have you, Brandon. Glad we could do this, get you on here. How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm not Adam. I don't have the I won't say Dynasty degenerates 4,000 times, but I'm gonna try to admirably fill his seat.
Yeah, we're missing the 75 basketballs in the background.
With everything hanging out in the back. Instead you get my wife's Vera Bradley collection.
Yeah. Hey, draft lottery just happened. You watch that? That was pretty fun. Woo! I get hyped up about draft lottery. It's so stupid.
Yeah, my Knicks got the 11th pick. I'm not too thrilled about that, but
yeah, I'm sorry.
It's all right. They don't draft well anyway.
Yeah, the Magic will find the next Shaq, right?
That's right. And they'll get rid of him in three weeks.
We got Eric in here. What's going on, E? Glad to have you over here. Tapped into the AMA. Rico. What's going on, man? Glad to have you in here. And Dynasty Barry. Man, Brandon, yesterday, being a part of the Heisman house and having that discussion on James Cook. Oh, what a day.
That was yeah. Patreon.com/allgas. That's all I'm gonna say. That was an 8-hour mind melt. That's the best way I could put it. Is an 8-hour mind melt of good discourse, right? It was good discourse. I don't think there was anybody that walked out of there thinking, "Man, I didn't learn something today."
You learned something whether you wanted to or not.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what it was. It was. But maybe we'll touch on it at some point tonight. But it was a very interesting conversation, and I think a lot of folks are James Cook's probably one of the most polarizing picks in the 2022 draft.
For sure.
Let's just call it what it is. Like outside of maybe Kenneth Walker, like James Cook is arguably probably the most polarizing piece.
I dunk on him too hard, and now I got to walk it back with shit on my face and be like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to."
Yeah, right.
Apologize. My bad. Conversations.
And he could faceplant, right? He could easily faceplant. He could fairly easily faceplant. But I think we all discussed yesterday. There is a potential upside there that is very appealing from a fantasy manager perspective.
Evan, glad to have you here. I promote my AMA on Twitter. I promote it in the Discord. I promote it with the patrons.
Hey, I even gave the Lance Stevenson energy. Come on now.
Yeah, see? Lance Stevenson. Yeah, Barry, taking James Cook 110. If you would have told me last week before we had this conversation, you took James Cook at 110, I would have laughed and laughed and laughed. And been like, this guy's an idiot. And now it's like, you got a value. Congratulations.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Like, right? Like it's almost far-fetched. Like we were discussing, you really got to come into the Heisman house to have more conversation and discourse. But I think we got to the point where it was almost like 107, because you got to draw a line somewhere, right? There's always a line. Like, where are we going to draw the line? Who's the guy that we were trying to? And I think we came to a consensus that, like, by 107, that is kind of that's where you're just like, it's not crazy anymore. It gets barbaric when you start going up into the top 6 picks. But
yes,
when you're starting to discuss, we talked about this. I'll hint at what we were talking about was the fact that when you get to 107, 108, you're discussing Christian Watson, Sky Moore, James Cook, all 3 guys that landed in very good landing spots with a bunch of question marks, right? And so it's one of those, like, at what point do you play the value game where running back is value? And that's obviously what you and Adam are kind of, that's your motto, right? Is value, value, value. And James Cook is the guy that screams value. We could look back on this draft and say, hey, James Cook, we undervalued him.
If you make a pros and cons list for him, like, it is pretty, and you be objective about it. If you be objective about it and don't let your personal feelings influence it too much, it's a lot of things in James Cook's favor. Let's just say that there's a lot of going for it. The hit rates, the positional value. It's hard. The landing spot is hard to make a case outside of the one thing that I always point at, and like, Ray puts the highlights out there and you're like, man, could you break one fucking tackle? Could you just break one? Just one? No, you're a shitty runner when you get touched. All right.
Yeah.
Outside of that, you got speed and you're the best receiving back coming out in this draft. And you're going to an A+ offense. There's a lot of things going for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can tell the new Heisman members too. They forget the Ben Eby shows, the start sits, the just random like Tuesday, off the cuff. I'd be scrolling through Twitter. I'm like, oh shit, look, Ben, Brandon.
Ben and Brandon, that's right.
Yeah. New Heisman members, man.
Well, I'm hoping that, this upcoming season we'll have, maybe you guys will jump on and do some of that stuff. I think it'll be a fun time to just talk about football. And I think that's really where James Cook comes in, right? At the end of the day, James Cook will score fantasy points. And when we at the end of the day, we're trying to play in the game of fantasy football. The name of the game is score the most points. It's not who has the highest draft capital. It's not, who produced the most in college. It's score fantasy points. And at the end of the day, James Cook, more than likely in that offense, will score fantasy points if he's on the field. And that's what we want.
I think the biggest wake up to me was Devontae Smith having a good year and then losing value because of the wide receiver position. And Michael Carter having some moments, being a 4th round pick and being on the fucking Jets and gaining value and people hyping him up before the NFL draft. And then he's dead now. But James Cook, I mean, you're talking about a guy on the Bills with 2nd round draft capital playing the running back spot. It's a lot easier for people to hype him up this time next year. We're like, oh my gosh, you got to go get James Cook in the 5th round of your startup. Like, it's a value. Go get him. Then it's going to be for Sky Moore, Christian Watson, insert wide receiver that we talked about.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, where's James Cook right now going in startups?
Oh man, I'll pull that.
I'm not like, and again, I just threw that question right at you, and I know I see all the comments. I see you guys on the right. I see all of you you guys want to take your Isaiah Spiller, and trust us, we're both on Isaiah Spiller as well, right? We're just saying that James Cook deserves to be in that conversation. He doesn't. He's not clearly. It's not a James Cook. Probably about a week ago, we probably had Isaiah Spiller and Rachaad White in this like mini tier ahead of James Cook, and now I think we've now made it to the conversation where James Cook deserves to be in there with those guys.
He's going one spot ahead for the running back position in the 8th round over everybody's favorite Tony Pollard. Yeah,
I mean he's an 8th round pick. I mean that's
already,
and it's. As much as we want to get off of James Cook, and you don't necessarily have to like James Cook. That was what we came out of it, right? You don't have to like James Cook, but you also play with other folks that don't necessarily grind in day out, as many here in the shit show do, as many in the Destination Devy community do. And if people are going to be higher on James Cook, and I think Ray Garvin talked about it yesterday, like somebody took James Cook at 103. That's preposterous. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's just.
But when you're talking about, okay, you know what? If you don't believe in James Cook, but he goes out and has a decent preseason and goes out and starts the season well, and you want to move him for a 23 first and a second, or a 23 second and a 24 first, I think you've made out pretty well.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm not taking him because I like the player or anything. It's just. Everything about the process is telling me you should take this guy, and it's for the strict purpose of value trading down the road. We talk about his floor a little bit yesterday on that voice chat, and he's got a pretty safe floor. I mean, you don't got to do a lot as a receiving back to get 10, 11, 12 fantasy points. And I would say the caveat would be is if I'm in a league, some ridiculous league where I can't trade after I draft this guy, like I'm just stuck with him forever, I'm not fucking taking James Cook over like guys that I like Sky Moore or Watson or even Pickens or Jahan Dotson. I'm not doing it if I can't trade him, but I don't play in those leagues. If I have any semblance of like my league is somewhat active and I'm like, I can see in 2-3 months I can get this deal done. Like you said, maybe somebody sees some training camp footage and they're like, I'll give you a 1st and a 2nd for him right now. cool. Plus
Yeah.
value. I just flip the 108, 109, 110 for first and second. I move on with my life.
Yeah. I mean, again, I got him. I was just looking down. I just got him in a really ugly trade in the offseason where I traded Odell Beckham and Russell Gage for Cam Newton, James Cook, and Velus Jones. How disgusting is that trade? Like,
yeah.
I was just trying to find guys to dump, and I ended up finding them in a dumpster pile with Russell Gage and Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
But all right, I think we've had enough James Cook.
Yeah.
Let's get to the questions before these guys all run away and think we're crazy.
Hey, I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out T-Rock. He always cops on these live streams when he can, as long as his wife isn't on his ass. So I'm happy he can be here. Maybe he can be the first workhorse that only catches the ball because he certainly ain't getting. He's not
absolutely
He's not getting fucking goal line work. Yes, at least meaningful goal line work. There might be like one time throughout the year they're like, shit, we'll put him in on the third and goal from the 4 and like throw him a flare pass. That was the play we drew up. But it's not like they're putting him in there on the 1 yard line going like, you punch this in, you got it, buddy.
Yep. I mean, and that's the thing. He's a between the 20s guy. But guys have been successful in their careers. Guys like Danny Woodhead, guys like Darren Sproles, guys like J.D. McKissick. I mean, the Bills wanted J.D. McKissick, and you're getting him at a much cheaper price.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, instead of paying $6-8 million for J.D. McKissick, you're getting 4 years out of James Cook.
There's going to be plenty of content about James Cook in the near future. That's all I can say. I don't want to waste it all tonight.
Yeah.
It hurts. It hurts. It hurt yesterday to talk about it and come to that realization. But hey, that's what these communities, right? Destination Devy, what we're trying to build here at South Harmon too, that's what they're for, is to get in and get these discussions. And hey, I have very strong James Cook takes going in. And I left there just devastated that like I can't argue it. I can't. So
no, you can't.
My wife's, hey, why you look so tired? Wow, honey, I just argued about James Cook before.
It's that Jimmy Butler gif from the bubble, right? When he just kind of walks over and just kind of like hunches over on the banister, like after a long game. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
After 107, it's a shit show. Get your guy at 108. Yeah,
it's
pretty much
exactly
how it is.
And I think the thing is we got to be careful with saying it's such a poop show because we just don't know yet, right? Like the quality tier guys stops at 107, 108, right? We could all agree. Like the guys we really want stop at 107, 108. But after that, I mean, we don't know what Keontae Ingram's going to turn into, or Snoop Connor, or Wandale, or George Pickens, or Dotson. I mean, we just don't know yet. So we got to be a little careful because we did this a couple of years ago. And then all of a sudden, Terry McLaurin was falling to third round status in rookie drafts. And all of a sudden, everybody wanted Terry McLaurin after he dusted, I don't know which Eagles secondary member was out there. It doesn't really matter. But after he went for two bombs, everybody wanted Terry McLaurin.
Just insert some random Eagles cornerback that's terrible.
That's going to be the Giants this year.
James Cook's a cryptocurrency. $sign Jesus fucking. Oh, that's gold. That's the winner.
That's a good one. That's the winner. That's the winner.
Ride the wave and dump it before. Hey, that's a good viable strategy. Like I said, I'm not drafting him or taking him for the explicit thing. Like, man, I can't wait to have him as my RB3 or 4. Like it's.
Yeah, I'm not saying like, yes, I need him because I want to pair him with Josh Allen on my squad. Nobody's saying that. Not even Josh Allen saying that for his own fantasy squads. Right?
Daniel's nailing it on the head with a lot of these guys, especially after 107. Like guys are going to emerge, and there's going to be random value spikes all throughout the year. From now until like December, there's going to be. Oh, did you see what this guy did? Did you see what this guy did? It happens every year.
We're crapping on these quarterbacks, right? We've ad nauseum. There's been a lot of talk about. Don't draft these quarterbacks. Don't draft them. They all were taken round 3, 4, 5. Like, don't take them. But the second Desmond Ridder hits the floor, hits the starting spot, you mean to tell me you can't trade him?
Yeah.
You mean somebody's not going to give you a first or a second?
There'll be somebody.
23. Somebody's going to need a quarterback.
You just got to be aware of those windows and be ready to pounce and be aggressive when that time happens. So, I mean, some of these things, like people will trade you just out of the blue. Like, Elijah Mitchell's a great one. If you're sitting there week 4, week 5, week 6 last year, I mean, there was people just sending out you random. I'll give you a first for Elijah Mitchell. And then you had the decision, like, can it go higher or do I just cash out now? And I would definitely say, like, there are some times where I'm like, nah, I'm gonna keep holding it, or I'm a contender, and he's a nice flex piece for me, or nice depth. But I mean, there's other times, like, you give me any kind of profit, just see.
Yeah, I mean, James, look at J-Rob, right? J-Rob the year before, right? Philip Lindsay, like, these guys come through. They come in late. You get them for cheap. You get them for like $1 maybe on the waiver wire, or like $3.10, $3.12, and you can flip them for a first round pick. It's a tale as old as time. It's just understanding when is the right time. Like Daniel said, it's which time to get out. Like, when are you gonna get out before it crashes? Because once the wave crashed, like, look at J-Rob, right? You could have moved him before. You could have moved him after his rookie season for probably a first plus. Our first plus. And last year, ETN comes in. You still had a chance once ETN went down with his foot injury. But, now, look what you're trying to trade James Robinson for.
Yeah.
Maybe Jordan Howard and a bag of peanuts.
I mean, if you can get a second, an early third, like 23 third, I don't really give a shit about the 22 third. But, like, you're happy. Like, cool. Off my team. See ya. Let's go. So, wow, this is an interesting one. David Bell's Elijah Moore of this class. What do you think about that? I'm a big, like, David Bell truther, but even I can acknowledge, like, it's not he got the draft capital, which at the end was what we were expecting him to. It's not like he fell to the 4th round. Like, at least he went the speed thing. That's always gonna be the knock.
Yeah, he's gonna need perfect ball placement, and with Deshaun Watson, I think he'll get some of that.
Yeah.
I think he'll get some of that because Deshaun Watson is a very accurate passer. We'll be able to throw him open. Baker will not be able to throw you open. We've just known that to be the case. Like, he's going to throw too many 50-50 balls to David Bell, and whether or not they would have been successful or not, like Jacoby Brissett, same guy. Like, he's not going to throw guys open. So once Deshaun Watson comes in, I could see that being a viable situation for David Bell. The question is how long is Deshaun Watson out for? If he's out.
I mean, for a guy who's got below average speed and burst for the wide receiver position, what a better person to learn from than your teammate Amari Cooper on the nuances of running a route to gain that separation, like to give him a little bit. Like, I'm not going to beat you with my quickness or speed, but if I know how to set you up just right, Amari Cooper's a perfect guy that he can just lock in and watch and go like, oh, let me do this. Because Amari, you could just make a highlight film of him just breaking people off ridiculously. He may not make the catch or may not be good for fantasy, but it's a highlight reel if you were just to put a camera on him and watch him run a route sometimes. So I like that for David Bell. Good spot for him.
And he doesn't need to be the alpha. That's the other thing. He's not going to need to force. He doesn't need to be force fed 130 targets, right? He's going to probably get a decent amount of targets, and he'll probably produce. I like it. I mean, I don't love him. Like, he's not somebody I'm actively like trying to throw first plus at. Like, I think what you'll see is you'll see probably some drumming up during mini camp and during OTAs. But if we find out that Deshaun Watson's out for, say, 4-6 weeks, you know what? I'll wait until he gets closer to like 3-4, like a week or two coming out, because David Bell might start off a little slow and I might be able to get him for an early 23 second. And now all of a sudden I have to decide, do I want somebody like David Bell who's going to be tied to Deshaun Watson, or do I want Quentin Johnston somewhere randomly in the 23 draft?
Yeah. I could get behind that too. Like, if that's a guy that you believe in and you kind of like some of the stuff that you see in, there's going to be a buy window too. If, like you mentioned, Deshaun Watson does get suspended, he's going to be out. I mean, how much can you really put on hype, like, and build your profile with Jacoby Brissett taking over and throwing the football versus Deshaun Watson? So David Bell will be an interesting to watch. I like him. I'm not like actively going out of my way, like you mentioned, to try to get him right now.
I'm not actively I'm not like targeting him in trades, but he is somebody that is on the radar once the season starts. That if Deshaun Watson gets suspended at some point, that's somebody who I could go in and go target. I could tier down to and go find. Even a trade, like even if I don't want to. Maybe I can get a 23. I could trade a 23 first in the back half for David Bell and a 23 third.
I don't want to get all Bryan Edwards on him.
No,
I don't want to do that shit. Right.
Yep.
He's still a third round wide receiver, and he has some questions. So.
Yep.
All right, Evan. Indulge me and talk about the Eagles' chances to win the division and what needs to happen for that to be the case. Man, I'm such a pessimistic Eagles fan most of the time. I think it's just because we play with the Dallas Cowboy fans and they never shut up. Like every year they're winning the Super Bowl. The Eagles do have a really good chance. So Dallas did fuck all in the offseason. They've gotten worse. They've actually gotten worse. Trading away Amari for peanuts, letting Lyle Collins just go. Like offensive line's already hurting. Yeah, well, fuck it.
They traded Amari Cooper for the same value as Bryan Edwards.
That's horrible. Absolutely horrible. The Dallas is a shit show, but they still have a talented roster, and the Eagles are still the Eagles. And outside of 2017 and the early 2000s, where we always got there but never get over the hump, I'm always kind of just pessimistic on their chances. But hey, the thing I'm most excited about is we're going to find out whether or not we have a quarterback for the future. That is a fact. This year we will know. Either Jalen Hurts comes out and plays well with all the pieces he has around him, or he doesn't play well and he's looking for a different job next year. I'm at least excited that from a team building standpoint, the Eagles did the right thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you need to win the division? You need Jalen Hurts to step up, right? Yeah. He did well. He did okay, and he did enough to get you guys to the wild card, right? But he did not do enough. He did not do enough to win the division, right?
No,
you got to play well. You're gonna have to probably go 4-2, 5-1 against your division opponent, divisional opponents, and you're gonna have to beat on the teams that are going to be bad. I don't remember who the NFC East plays this year. I want to say it's the NFC West. So you're going to have to beat up on Seattle. You're going to have to take advantage of Arizona because you're not going to take advantage. You're going to be in a shootout with the Rams, and we still don't know what's going to happen with the Niners. All right.
The Eagles kick it off with the Lions, then the Vikings, Washington, Jaguars. Wow,
you got to be 3-1. You got to be at least 3-1 coming at us, right? Like you got to start off quick.
At Cardinals, home versus Cowboys, home versus Steelers, at the Texans, and then you get the Commanders at home, on the road at Indianapolis. That's not good. Home versus the Packers, home versus the Titans. So at least those are the games where you got to split. When you get two really tough teams. Mm-hmm. And you get them at home, like anything less than a split is just horrific, right? It doesn't help your chances. At the Giants, at the Bears, at Dallas. So, those are the big ones, right? That's again another situation where you got to come out of there 2-1. You got to win. Got to get the layups, and then you finish it off home versus the Saints, home versus the Giants. So, looks like they're playing the NFC South. Yes.
I counted 11. I counted 11 potential.
NFC North is their crossover, or not their crossover, their interconference.
I got to 11 realistic. I got to 11 realistic. It'll be hard to get. I don't think you'll get more than that. I don't think you can get to 12, but I think 11 and 6 you could get there.
Well, you get the layups against the Giants and Washington, and you got to split it with Dallas,
and you get win home. Well, and you get the Jaguars, you get the Lions, you get the Bears, the Texans. You got to win all 4.
Yeah,
you got to get those. You just got to get those.
It's doable. I would imagine they're probably going to be the favorites, betting favorites across. They might even be right now.
I'm looking right now. I'm looking on DraftKings right now just to.
My only hesitation is people hype them up after the way that they finished the season, like Jalen Hurts especially. Like, oh, look how Jalen Hurts finishes. We played 4 god-awful teams, 5
Yep.
god-awful teams. Like, the stretch to end the season last year was against trash can teams.
Yep.
So of course, we should finish strong. Get in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Cowboys
no
are Cowboys are the slight favorites. They're plus 130. Eagles
Okay.
are plus 190. Commanders are not even close at plus 450, and the Giants are so far back at 9-1. No thanks.
Oh man.
So I think what we're talking probably, very close.
Man, Dante, my favorite rookie sleepers, I wouldn't say I really have any like super favorites. I'm kind of just in on any running back. The class is so poopy. It's so poopy that
I'll give you a couple. I got two, and I
Okay.
talked about them. I talked about them yesterday in the Heisman tier. 2 guys I'm really liking walking out the door are Snoop Connor and Keontae Ingram.
Okay.
Those are my 2 running back favorites.
I always gravitate towards tight ends. Like that's my thing.
Yeah, I mean I could have,
but they're never shit.
I could have put Daniel Bellinger in there too, but I didn't want to be too much of I didn't want my Giants bias to start rubbing off.
Okay.
But the reason why I say those 2 is they realistically have only one player in front of them before being fantasy relevant RB2s.
Valid.
Right? Valid. If James Conner goes down, Keontae Ingram can step in and give you 15 touches and probably 60 plus yards and a touchdown, and he's going to be a fantasy relevant RB2. Snoop Connor in a committee with a Doug Peterson led offense, which we know he loves the committee, right? He's battling against Travis Etienne and James Robinson coming off an Achilles injury.
All right.
And Travis Etienne's coming off of a foot injury, right? So he's walking in, he's a bruiser back. He's not going to be the speedster that dusts you, but he's got the kind of guy that's going to come in and get 10 hard carries, and he might fall into the end zone every 3rd week.
All right, I'll play nice. I'll give 2. I'll give 2 that I like, 2 that I'm probably higher on than most people. And the sad part is they're both Patriots. They're both Patriots. I'm gonna take Tyquan Thornton, right? Just to do something that I'm gonna be higher on than most people. I can't stop drafting Tyquan Thornton in like the mid to back part of the 3rd round because I just see all the other like choices and I'm like, nope. Hey, at least this guy got 2nd round DC.
Yeah,
and he's fast. I'll take it. And my other one is going to be Kevin Harris. And I think this is just too much of like sophomore season Kevin Harris in me, where like I saw that Kevin Harris, I saw all the film on Kevin Harris, and I guess when he played North Carolina too, he kind of had like a finally he's back, and that was it. Then the season's over. But Kevin Harris, I think if he's healthy, walks in and he's the most talented running back in that room out of Ramondre, Damian Harris, Pierre Strong. Don't give a fuck. Kevin Harris is the guy. But it's the Patriots, so they'll probably end up, signing somebody off the street and just playing him instead of all the running backs that they have. So, but I'll give you 2. So those are my 2 guys. I'll take.
I like them.
Why not?
I like them. I mean, again,
the easy answer is tight ends, right? Every damn roster is going to have some form of like Chig Okwankwu.
Oh yeah, I got way too
have
much.
all of it.
I think I picked them up in like 5 leagues the other day. I think Mike saw all my notifications. Chig for 0, Chig for 0. Chig. Just threw him in the taxi squad. Yeah, he's athletic. He's a tight end. Why not?
All right, Chase. We've been so high on the 23 class, which has inflated the value of those picks. Are you accumulating second? And the assumption it's a deep class. Yes, to the first part, easy yes. Just because I think with the amount of quarterbacks and like the rebound that I think is going to happen with the NFL after this year in Superflex leagues, the second's going to get pushed a lot of really good prospects. So I want all the seconds. Give me all the seconds. What players would you be targeting for a late first?
So I'm trading a 20. So I'm assuming, Chase, I'm trading a 23 for late first.
Late first, like you're a contender.
I'm a contender. Okay.
I would assume so. Maybe.
I would assume so, yeah.
Hell, I mean, even on a rebuild, man, if I've got some contenders late 23 first, you can realistically get Devontae Smith for a late 23 first, right? Now.
Chase said correct. We are assuming late 23 first.
Late.
Guys, I'm probably looking at Devonta Smith. If I want to go crusty, I really like A-Rob. I like Mike Evans in those spots.
I dig that.
I mean, you're going to get probably 2 good years of production.
Yeah.
So at least you get 22 and 23, and then you should try 24. You still have 24. Yeah.
I like to go like so much of what we do is just kind of built off of EDP and startup value.
Yeah.
So when I look at guys who fall in that range, I typically consider like late first type assets, regardless if it's 23. Some of these guys I'd much rather have right now, value accumulation, scoring points on a contender, even on a rebuild. Like I think they're going to go up. Elijah Moore is going in the 8th round. Bateman, another 8th round. Cortland Sutton is the guy I'd take. It's going to be a lot of wide receivers. This is also why I'm a running backs early guy. Darnell Mooney. Amon-Ra, still. Apparently Jameson Williams killed him. He's dead.
Yeah.
So Amon-Ra at 8'11" right now.
Yeah. Apparently the speed go route guy killed the underneath route guy. But
not a lot of running backs here that I would even consider. Maybe in like tight end premium leagues. I'm still high on Noah Fant. So I think that's something you could easily get done. Easily.
Yeah, you might even be able to go all the way up to Goddard, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you might have to throw a third. You might have to throw a third as a kicker, but who really cares as a third rounder? Like if you're competing 3-12, like come on, move it along.
None of these quarterbacks, none of them.
No,
good.
I mean unless maybe Kirk Cousins.
No, he goes a couple rounds too early. Like I mean, if you're talking like late first value, you're looking at Matt Ryan, Daniel Jones, Tannehill, Carson Wentz, Jameis Winston. Pass. Like I'd rather keep the pick, to be honest.
If you can get Tom Brady, go for it. If you can get him. Gross take. We're near the route runner. Oh gosh, T-Rock.
He's always got to get us, right? The seconds will be extremely valuable. I'll take running backs falling into second.
Yeah, there's going to be some good ones. There will be some good ones that slide. There's going to be some good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a shitty one. You know what? I just acquired Godwin, and you know how much I dunk on him all the time. And there's just some point, though, where the value's too good, right? I don't remember what the hell it was. There's George Pickens and some trash for Chris.
Yeah, I do remember because we're in that same league, and I saw it. I was like, what is this?
A late 23 first? Yeah, I mean, Jesus, if I could get Chris Godwin for that, I'd be over the moon. I think it was Arkham.
Yeah. No, it was Damian Pierce and George Pickens.
Oh yeah, see, I told you it was some trash.
Even, oh gosh.
Like I like the running backs as dart throws, but that's all it is, man. It's just or whatever.
Yeah. Let's start that. Let's just roll that cock. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's probably maybe in your leagues, right? But he doesn't carry an ADP that high. He's a 207 ADP guy. So he's mid to back, second round, T-Rock. He's not going that high. Maybe you just got a lot of real David Bell enthusiasts in your league.
Yeah, you got somebody playing from Purdue in your leagues.
There's absolutely no way I would ever, as much as I like David Bell, I'm never taking him over John Dotson or George Pickens or Sky Moore or Chris Olave or Christian Watson.
He's more of a project.
Or James Cook.
Hey, yeah, I mean.
I'm not taking him over Isaiah Spiller, right? Or Rashad White. I'm still going to take those guys. And then I'm like, all right, do I believe in Malik Willis? Do I believe in Matt Corral? Do I need a tight end in premium league, or do I take David Bell? That's where
I mean, do I take one of the darts on the quarterbacks, or do I take a dart on a wide receiver?
Yeah, we don't talk about Washington. They can't even get their stadium so it doesn't spew out poop everywhere. So,
and they got Carson Wentz as their quarterback. Where's Nick? Well, I can't wait for the Nick Foles signing.
Hey, you're forgetting they actually have Sam Howell as quarterback, and he will lead them to the promised land. I forget that. It's going to be good. The 23 picks weren't inflated enough. What happened with the 22 quarterbacks in the draft only pushes them higher. People will be quarterback. Yes, I am.
Yeah, if these quarterbacks hit, if even one of these tier of quarterbacks, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, Tyler Van Dyke, those names, if one of them hits, we already have 3 times as many quarterbacks in round 1 than we did this year.
Yeah. I think there might be a situation. I'm not going to go I saw some mock drafts with like six quarterback. I don't think that's happening, but I'm not going to be shocked if there's 4 or 5. I'm not. And they're going to be sprinkled throughout. You're going to have the elite studs, or who we think the studs are right now. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis is going to be in there. And like you said, Tyler Van Dyke. And there's a few others. I mean, I've seen, the
guy from Stanford. Yeah, the Stanford kid
yes.
that nobody believes in.
Nobody believes in.
Tanner McKee. Yeah.
Tanner McKee.
Here's the thing is, there's going to be a lot of teams this year that put Band-Aids on mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Right. Their quarterback play is trash, and they're going to put a Band-Aid over it, hoping that the Band-Aid can clot up and fix the problem. That's not going to be the case.
Look at all the turd starters that you have in the league, right? You got Drew Lock, number 1. You got Marcus Mariota, right? Just we're hoping and praying. Carson Wentz for another one. Matt Ryan, he's a good quarterback, but like, how much longer is Matt Ryan going? Tom Brady is on his way out. They're 5 already.
Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina, right?
Like the Saints. I love Jameis, but the Saints.
The Giants, right? And then what if some of these people start getting a turn on their second-year quarterbacks going in? Like, what if Zach Wilson is really the turd everyone wants to talk him up to, or Tua Tagovailoa doesn't perform with the Eagles with Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
It is Davis Mills. Like, is Davis Mills the truth in Houston?
Exactly.
Right? The list goes on, and we just
listed a third.
Yeah, like
we just listed a third of the teams, and there's going to be turnover. There's going to be turnover. I mean, what happens with Pittsburgh? I mean, there's just so much turnover right now that could potentially happen next year. That over the next 2 years, between the 23 class, and I know I've seen a couple comments, the 24 class is pretty stinking good. Like, if you're not stocking up on at least 3 or 4 24 picks between now and July, you're doing yourself a disservice in dynasty football.
For sure.
You really are. Like, there are everything that I've said this to a couple people, everything that the 23 class has, the 24 class has, and possibly even more.
And maybe even more depth.
And
some of these 23 guys who may end up going back to school. So
exactly, especially with with the NIL deals now.
Yeah.
There's gonna be guys making millions.
That was a big thing I'd mentioned about, like, the Sam Howell coming out as an early declare and going in the 5th round. Like, the man literally could have made more money if he went back to Carolina and got it than he would make in the NFL, which is wild to me this year.
Yeah.
You're going to have that situation for a lot of these players too, where they're like, man, I'll just go back to school. Just go back to school. Somebody gave me $1 million to promote a car dealership, and that's what I'm going to do. Here we go.
You're going to see a lot more Chris Olaves than you will Jackson Smith and Jigba's.
Yep.
Right? You're going to see a lot more guys. You're going to see a lot more guys that are like that fringe day 2 pick. They're going to go back. They're going to go make $750K or $1 million, because these NIL deals are going to go through the roof at some point, because we all know boosters are crazy. They're going to start paying these guys more, and they're going to be like, the heck with it. Why am I going to go make, 4 years, $10 million when I can go make $1 million or $2 million, boost my draft stock, and now I can get into the first round and bake $20 million.
For sure. And it's not even like the guys who are like the fringe ones. I mean, if you're just a good player, I mean, you think about all these teams like trying to position themselves for national championship runs, right? You're going after, like, hey, man, you've been playing at Northwestern for 4 years. You're never going to win shit there. Why don't you come and help me at Alabama, right? Here's $500,000. We got you an NIL deal. You transfer to Alabama. You play. We needed a good right guard, right? Just to help fill the need.
I'll give you $500,000. You're not making $500,000 on a 7th round draft pick. Like,
but then you get that guy who may have been overlooked at Northwestern. Now he's playing on Alabama in the spotlight the entire time, and for draft status, anyways, they go on a run, win the national championship, and like he's a big piece of that. Now his draft stock just improved versus maybe being a round 5, round 6 pick. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. All right, so rookie wide receiver 3. This isn't even a question for me. It's Garrett Wilson, and JMO is off of there. Adam and I just did it over an hour podcast. It was nothing on Jameson Williams, and it hurts my soul to be so critical of him, but the ACL is a very real thing that I think some people are just putting on the rose-colored glasses a little too much, right?
ACL plus right now for year one, he's playing with a quarterback that doesn't throw the ball deep.
Yeah.
Jared Goff is like allergic to throwing the ball over 15 yards accurately. You might get one, maybe two throws a game. And when you're talking about a guy who predicates himself on speed and separating from defenders, like we said, Amon-Ra's not affected by this. It's more DJ Chark that would be affected by this. I'm not saying I'm out on JMO, but I'm also saying temper your expectations for 2022.
ETN's kind of an interesting one. Like I'm higher on ETN. So to answer this question, I like ETN, but there was definitely a point where people were getting too far over his skis. He was like a third-round startup pick for a guy who has a serious foot injury and didn't do shit. So where he's at right now, kind of in that RB, I would say if you wanted to rank him, I don't even know where I have him ranked. Okay, so I have him at 14 right now. So
I think that's fine.
A little over consensus, but I think it's kind of just the right spot for him. I'm going to say like that mid to late round 4 startup, early round 5th. That's a good spot for him. I can't make a case for a lot of the guys I have over him because serious foot injury, and we haven't seen anything. Could be nothing. He may never come back from the foot injury, right? That's the kind of foot injury he had, right? There's not a great case for some of those Liz Frank injuries. So
yeah, I mean, I guess even if he just got the receptions piece, right? Like even if he just gets the reception side of the stats, I'm perfectly fine. Like the same argument we're making for James Cook. There it is.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to be on a rough offense. He's going to get a lot of garbage time. He's tethered to a good quarterback who happened to be his college teammate. You know, Doug Peterson loves to throw to the pass back. I mean, there's no reason to think that he can't get 55, 60 catches.
So the guys that I rank right over him, just for reference, like Kamara, right? I'm putting the blinders on about the whole legal situation because we honestly don't know. It could be nothing. It could be something. But till I know, I'm not going to change it too much. A guy who just got drafted, Kenny Walker. I mean, if you wanted to argue and put him over that, that's fine. But J.K. Dobbins, Joe Mixon, Cam Akers, Saquon, Gibson, McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Javonte. So I have a hard time being like, let me put him over Saquon. Can't do it.
No, can't do it. No, can't do it.
I do not hate ATN. I'm just trying to be realistic on where you should be taking him.
Listen, because if there's anybody who likes Jacksonville Jaguar running backs, it's this guy. The other way.
Other way.
I don't even know that way. And the funny story is the way that Mike and I introduced each other to was a debate over James Robinson.
Yes.
If there's anybody who wants to defend the Jags running back, it's literally that guy.
For those of you in Heisman who've been around for a while, there was a time where Brandon and I would go at each other every single day, and I thought we'd never be at a place where we're doing an AMA together live stream. No, I was like, this guy's an asshole.
Yeah, he's an idiot. He don't know what he's talking about. James Robinson, he hates him.
Heineke's ass.
They're all the same. Listen, they all throw the YOLO ball. That's literally all. They literally all throw the YOLO ball. Heineke, Wentz, Howell, they all just throw it up in the air.
Yeah, you got some 4th round Snoop love, so you got another person on the bandwagon. It's worth a shot. Right?
I mean, he's ugly. It's ugly, but who cares? You're taking darts in the 3rd round, hoping for one to pop to an RB2, and you, like we said earlier with Elijah Mitchell and James Robinson, figure out when to get out and get out.
Evan does love undrafted free agents.
He does have undrafted Carson Strong. He does have an affinity for Carson Strong. Yeah, I mean Keontae Ingram. Yeah, I mean these are guys. I mean these are all guys that you're not trading up to go get. Nobody we just mentioned in that little section. You should not be trading up to go get Keontae Ingram. You should not be trading up to get Snoop Conner. If you are, you really need to upgrade your tier, either at Destination Devy, South Harmon Institute Technology, wherever you're subscribing to. You need to go upgrade and find yourself a better tier.
Yeah. Man. Jeez, man. The comments are coming in fast and crazy. 24 quarterbacks better than 23 quarterbacks.
Probably better depth currently. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know that. We still got a lot. There's a lot of uncertainty, right? Like after really, frankly, after Caleb Williams, there's a
I
lot of
can't.
there's still a lot of question marks. Like, yes, we want to put Quinn Ewers way up there as the next great white hope, right? The golden mullet with the rocket arm.
Yes.
But we have not seen him play in college yet.
It's
and he's going to play in the Big 12, where the man's probably going to put up 4,500 yards easily.
Yeah.
With that offense, he is going to light up the Big 12.
I want to see how they do against Alabama, so we'll get that right off the jump. So that's good. But it's so tough.
And I do agree
with this quarterback class. It's tough with the quarterback class. It's tough. It's tough though, because remember where we were last year at this time. Oh, you got Sam Howell and Spencer Rattler. These guys are locked in. Top two quarterbacks. One's a 5th round pick. One had to transfer to South Carolina. You got for Devy, like if you're looking at, man, DJU, he looks like the truth. I mean, some people were out there being critical of him, but the consensus was, man, this is a future number 1 overall pick that we got at Clemson, and not anymore. So,
yeah, I mean,
everything changes so damn fast.
I don't disagree. If you said to me, can I have Bryce Young and CJ Stroud or Caleb Williams and Quinn Ewers?
Yeah.
Right. I don't think that there's anything there that they would discredit if you went 23 or 24. I think what I need to see from 24 is I need to see Drake May at UNC. I need to see JJ McCarthy full time at Michigan. Right. Yeah. I need to see we need to see these guys develop into prospects.
Yep.
Right. Because right now we're just still going off of whatever was on 24/7 Sports or whatever high school film. Right. Like we've seen Tyler Van Dyke. We've seen Will Levis. We've seen scratches of Anthony Richardson already. Like we've seen those guys. So we need to see that from the 24 guys before I say, yeah, go all the way in on 24.
Well, for this, Austin, one's an early declare. One stayed 4 years. One has a broken foot, and the other one has a clean bill of health. So that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, I would put Breece Hall is at least the minimum right now with tier ahead of ETN, at least.
And to be fair, I would take the Jets offense as it currently constructed over the Jacksonville Jaguars offense as it's currently constructed. Better offensive line. I think the weapons are better, right? You're looking at Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, and Laviska Shenault as your wide receivers versus Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, and Corey Davis.
Yeah. I mean, not to mention they run the zone stretch. I mean,
yeah, it's that kind of San Francisco-esque kind of scheme that they run. So yeah, I would take I take the Jets offense, and you factor in the broken foot's a big thing. It's a big thing. If ETN had come out as a prospect this year and Breece Hall had come out as a prospect this year, same class, we'd have a conversation. They're both completely healthy. They both got similar draft cap. It would be a real conversation of who you take 101. But being that one literally broke his foot, it's like, man, the Liz Franks. Hey, shout out to Jeff Mueller. I fucked up his last name, but
Jeff,
he's a big one. He provided me the data on guys with Liz Frank, and it's not the greatest track history. It's some of the reason that I'm down on Derrick Henry. Right? If they come back and they're good, it's kind of an outlier. And that's not something I want to bet on. So,
yeah, you don't want to be betting on outliers. That's just not a good practice.
There you go. See, Caleb and Ewers over Young and Stroud. Little did we know Kenny Pickett's tiny hands would put a stranglehold on this class. Yes, all Kenny Pickett. I'm not going to fucking mention Zay Jones. Is he worth mentioning? Oh, all right. So your ETN question comes from someone who's offered a 23 first and ETN for Javonte, and I'm considering it. I would be too. I actually would be. I don't rank him like I hate him, right? He's still a top 15 running back for me, and those are the guys I'm interested in. It would literally come down, if I can get anything more, onto where I could reasonably project that first to be. Brandon, if I told you that first was it's going to be mid to early, I think I just click the button and I move on with my life.
Yep. Yeah.
I love Javonte, but I just click the button and I move on with my life. Right?
Yeah,
I love
I
to
mean,
tear down, and that's a good tear down.
Yeah, ETN and Gibbs, ETN and Bijan, ETN and Stroud, ETN and
Bryce Young.
ETN and Jackson Smith-Jigba. If you really want to go the wide receiver route,
I would definitely say I would be studying it vigilantly. Oh, fuck it.
I would maybe hold on. I wouldn't make the trade necessarily right this second.
Yeah.
Like it's not a pull the trigger right this second, but it's, watch that team as they try to build or blow up throughout the offseason. Some people sometimes tip their hand a little too early and they leave the trade out on the table, and you just click accept and you take that mid first, early first, and walk away.
Yeah. So what we got? I'll pull it up for ADP, right? I'll do this like it's actually a really good trade. So Javonte, I guess he didn't slip that bad for the last week. He's still at 205. So he's not a late first anymore, but he's about a mid second. Not bad. ETN's a mid fifth. So you're going to trade back from a mid second to a mid fifth and pick up a 23 first in a startup. Yeah. If I took the names out of it, that's the deal that I'd make. I'd obviously try to finagle more and ask for more, but hey, if that's the best that you can do, I'm in for it. I don't hate that. Yeah, good tear down, especially if you don't have any ETN. The Mets doing Mets things. Yeah, the betting never stops. The betting never stops. All right, we'll get this last one and then we'll bounce out of here. Good hour, man. Good questions. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Gene, my guy, what's your take on the 49ers backfield? Oh my God, because is this worse, better, or the same as the New England backfield, Brandon? What do you think? Like, from being a fantasy manager, would you rather have on your team, you could have the entire San Francisco backfield or you could have the entire New England backfield? Which is going to be a bigger headache for you? Which would you rather have?
Both. I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of have a working theory, right? A working concept that if there's more than 2 running backs in your backfield that you think are fantasy viable, you got to get out of that backfield. It's just not a backfield I want, right? Like, because there's just not enough meaningful touches in the NFL anymore for running for a backfield. Like, unless the team is running 50 times a week, you're not finding 3 viable options, right? So, yeah, I mean, with the situation with the Niners and the situation, like, who's going to be the goal line back? Jeff Wilson.
And then comeback, baby.
And then Trace, and then you have Elijah Mitchell, and then you just spent a 3rd round pick on TDP, right? So now you've got, like, what is TDP's role? What is he going to do? Like, you just got a bunch of they have 8 running backs as well. Like, somebody, I know the NFL is moving more towards a multi-back committee strat setup. Like, you either have the horse or you got 3 guys back there. But they're just offenses fantasy wise. They're just not. You're just trying to find the cheapest guy. That's always my strategy with those offenses. Is I'm not looking for the best. I'm looking for the cheapest, because if the cheapest one pops, I can sell them and I can win, right? I can't sell if I get the guy like Elijah Mitchell, who's probably a 6th round startup, probably right about now, right?
7th, he's fallen to the 7th.
7th. But I can go get TDP or Jeff Wilson in the double digits.
Yeah, easily.
Right? Easily? Okay. Easily. So they're probably worth what? Like a 23 third, 24 third, probably, if you right now, currently. Like, if I traded you one of the, or $5 a fob.
Yeah.
But if one of them let's say Elijah Mitchell goes down with another shoulder injury and one of those 2 has to start, I can move one of those guys for a 2nd round pick. And now I've gained value. Now I've won the game.
I like Elijah Mitchell as a player, and it was fun. It was fun. I liked Elijah Mitchell, but if you didn't get out, like, his value is still holding on, so there's still a sliver of hope because he's still going in the 7th round. But that's a guy, like, the warning signs are there, man. Cash out, move on with your life. A guy I dunked on all the time, Ramondre Stevenson, right? After the Patriots draft. Now he's going in the 14th round. He's fallen to the 14th round, RB 48. At that price, you're telling me I could take Elijah Mitchell in the 7th, or I could take Ramondre in the 14th for both situations that I don't like. but I'm just looking for random running back depth. Give me the Ramondre in the 14th.
Exactly. And
Easily.
that's I think that's the mistake that so many people fall trap into, right?
Yeah.
Is like when we get to those later rounds where they're ugly backfields,
Yep.
we try to take the top guy because he's going to get first crack, and first crack always doesn't always work out in those backfields. It's always the guy who seems to find his way. I mean, look at guys like Rex Burkhead, right? Rex Burkhead's a great story from last
Sexy
year, right? Like
Rexy. Yep.
Sexy Rexy was like the 14th running back in the Houston Texans pool of running backs, and he probably ended up winning people playoff weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was available and he had run, right?
Yeah.
But he was super cheap, and you could have flipped him probably for a third round. You probably got him for nothing, and probably if you really wanted to move him, these guys come around all the time. Ugly vets come around all the time. Like a guy I'm looking at right now that just picked up on a couple win now teams, Mark Ingram. He's ugly. He's ugly.
Why not? Why not though?
Oh, why not? Why not? What happens? And if Alvin Kamara gets suspended for whatever reason, guess what? It's the Mark Ingram show. And you know what? I'll cash that chip out for early second, late first. I paid nothing for him.
It's there's shitty backfields. I would say generally I just usually stay away from them in general. Like I don't invest too much in them, but I get it. I get it for like just some random depth or some waiver wire thing. I'm good for it. Like, why not? But if I'm in like a startup draft, I'm probably not actively targeting. This is also why like I build my running backs early, and then I just get all my wide receivers and tight ends, and like I fill out all that depth. But I have 4-5 running backs by the time we're in round 8, round 9. Like I'm done with running backs. I'll take some like flyer rookies just later, but I'm not going like, oh, I need a Chase Edmonds on my team. I need a Ramondre.
Yeah,
fuck
exactly. You don't want to be chasing them, right? You don't want to be chasing them because you don't want to be trying to chase that random week. But at the same time, like recognizing vets typically are the guys who get like when an injury goes down to a player, they always end up picking up the vet, and the vet always ends up producing. So guys like Latavius Murray that are not signed right now. I know he's ugly. I know it's disgusting. It's gross. But look what happened last year with Baltimore. We were all on the J.K. Dobbins train, and then Baltimore became a clusterfuck of 2014 running backs, and you could have picked any one of them.
Hey, we had a good run of Tyson Williams. Like
rest in peace.
That was a good like 2-3 week run he had.
He had a good 48 hours. he had a good 48 hours in the preseason. But I mean, look at that case though. Devonta Freeman. I mean, he turned into a starter, an actual starter in a fantasy football in the year 2021 of our Lord and Savior.
A hot waiver wire pickup.
Guy who hadn't been relevant since Matt Ryan blew the Super Bowl.
This guy here's dead. We'll cross him off there.
No, that's right. These are ugly guys. Again, these are ugly guys. They're not sexy. They're not like this is the kind of information that you want. I could tell you, anybody could tell you JT's good. Anybody could tell you DeAndre Swift's good. Javonte's a good. These are good guys. Yeah, no kidding. But the ones that are going to win you, leagues and going to sustain your dynasties, these are the kind of guys you got to start looking now. Start planning before everybody starts throwing $75 a fob at them, and all of a sudden you don't have you're chasing these guys.
I shouldn't dunk on them so hard, right? I won bomb squad with like Darrell Williams and fucking Booker. Booker.
Yeah,
they got in my lineup.
We're winning. You're winning. You can win a best ball league with junk.
With trash.
With junk. You literally can. Yeah, and you got to do the homework ahead of time.
You do.
That's the biggest piece of advice I could give you is do the homework ahead of time. Don't try to chase people trying to get them because you're overpaying for crusty that you should never be overpaying for in the beginning.
Yep, absolutely. Hey Brandon, I appreciate you hopping on. This was fun. We got an hour.
Yeah.
The questions, the chat was popping. I appreciate everybody tuning in. And Chase, I am not putting that up on the fucking screen. Get the fuck out of here. Go on. That's going to do it for us. We're out of here. Brandon, thanks again. Thank you, chat, for tuning in. Hey, if this is your first exposure to South Harmon or Brandon, make sure that you're checking out the Patreons, right? We got patreon.com/allgas, get you into Destination Devy, and I can't stress enough how much you guys need to get in Heisman chat. Come in Heisman chat because it will change your entire outlook on James Cook. And then for us, patreon.com/South Harmon. $1 gets you in the door. We got voice chats as well. I can promise you we're probably not doing 4 or 5 hours on James Cook ever.
Nope. No, but you are gonna learn how to. I mean, I'll say this much: you and Adam, you guys have a very great Discord, like a great community that supports you guys. You know, hands down, I'm a supporter. I'm a shithead. Like I have no problem saying it. Like I have no problem support good content, and you guys pump out a ton of content, and it's
keep at it, man.
You know, I mean, that we're just trying to make you guys better Dynasty players. That's really what it comes down to. You might not agree with our takes. Mike and I don't always agree.
Nope.
But at the end of the day, we walk away from the conversation
better
with a better process.
Yes, absolutely. That's the biggest thing. I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with me. But I tell you what, if we have a disagreement about something, I can guarantee you I probably learned something, and I might have changed just a little bit. I might be like, I still don't like that guy. But
yeah,
let me move him up. Let me move him up in my ranks.
Yeah.
Poop Squad. Yeah, you nailed it. Brandon's got a shirt too, so never fear.
I do have a shirt. So next time I come on, I'll wear the shirt.
I appreciate it.
We'll next time, hopefully by the time. Yeah, hopefully Adam's back next week. He can take this seat and I'm just keeping it warm for a week.
All right. We're going to bounce. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. We're out of here. Peace.